Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence of Sound and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thank you so much for checking out the series. As always, if you enjoy what you see, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, a brand new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists, and I am so excited to have the one and only Leslie Jordan on the show today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Kyle, so much for having me.
No, it's a pleasure, man. We've got a lot to talk about today. You have so much going on at the moment. And later on, we're going to get into a radio show and a book and a movie. But I got to say, and before we get into the big thing about a new album, recently you've been doing a sitcom called Call Me Cats. And it just so happens that the show is based in Louisville, which is where I am.
Isn't that crazy? Darlene Hunt, that created our show, is from Louisville. And when I saw that, because I went to the University of Kentucky, so I was in Lexington, but I was over in Louisville quite a bit, and I go up there to look for horses. I don't know if you know this, but Louisville is the saddlebred horse capital of the world, among many, many things, besides the race horses and everything. The high-stepping saddlebreds, which is the kind of horses I love. So I've been up there many times, and I love Louisville.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually know the thing about about UK and everything. I'm from here. I did colleging in Richmond over at Eastern, so Lexington was sort of that middle ground where the bars were at least 18 and over there, so I could go in. That was
I remember
that. No, but it's been so cool kind of watching you, especially in Call Me Cats, one, because of the local connection, two, just because of seeing you out there and this bright star shining and getting, this seems like such a fun character that you're getting to play and everything. What's kind of, I guess, what's the update here on what you guys are doing?
Well, we finished, we have an order from Fox for 13 episodes. I think we've done 10. We have 2 left. We've done 11. So we have 2 left. And then when we finish our 13, which I think there's about 7 left to actually air. I suppose that we'll have to do that big wait game that the Fox executives love to put us through, where we will wait until the upfronts in May, where they announce their season, is what the rumors I've heard. But I think it looks really good for us to continue. We're getting good ratings, and the beauty of it all is to work. That Maya Bialik, who I adore, is our executive producer. So seldom do you get to work with the actress who is the executive producer, because she's very conscious of what actors need, which people think, oh, please, what do you need? Well, we do need, sometimes we're the last ones. They do the lighting and this, bam. She says, let my actors get ready. So I love her. She asks a lot of questions. I want to say to her, who are you asking? You're the boss. You know what I mean? What are all these questions for? You're the head honcho.
Right. It's got to be great having that in there. Well, it is such a fun show. And, I know where the real cat cafes are around here. It's, what an interesting, bizarre concept that's just sort of become its own story, that whole thing. So that's a fun one. So this all leads to you've, had this, I don't know if resurgence is the right word, because I know you've always had your fans, but suddenly I guess you are more famous than you've ever been in this, especially in this past year. What's it been like, especially to be living this and at a time where with complete separation from everybody?
Well, when the pandemic started and we had to all stay in and people were going crazy, I was in Tennessee at my mom's. And I started posting twice a day. I did 2 posts a day for 80 days. Back then, I don't know. Now I scramble for content. I think, I got to do a post. What? Back then, I don't know where I came. I've had people say, Leslie, people get paid $250,000 a year, from studios to come up with all that. And I'm just spouting it out. I just rolled it out. But the friend called and said to me from California, he said, honey, you have gone viral. And I said, no, I'm okay. I don't have the virus. I thought he meant I had corona. I said, no, I'm doing fine. I'm here, He said, no, not that viral, internet viral. And so it's been interesting, I mean, I've always had a little, following from Will and Grace and this and that. But when you get into that internet thing, people scream my name out. I'll be walking down the street, cars screaming my name. And I'm like, like Lady Gaga famous or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know how you measure it, but I can't go anywhere.
But it's been so great. I mean, the joy you've put out into the world, especially at a time when I know everybody needs it. I mean, it's just been, whether you meant to or not, that's the great part about this, I think. It's just been so good. And it has been, looks like it's been leading to a lot of things. And again, the main thing I'm getting to here is you're releasing a brand new record. It's called Company's Coming. And this is your first album? Is that right? How is this your first album?
Because I don't sing. I'm not a singer, really. I mean, I have I think Rolling Stone said compatible. No, something. Anyway, I have I'm okay. I sing, but I have been doing these Sunday morning hymn sings with my dear friend Travis Howard. We'd sing these old hymns. We all grew up in the church, my little group, and then we kind of walked away from the church, and now we're not really back in the church, but we're back with our faith. Anyway, it's a crazy situation, but we love these old hymns, and so we started posting them, and he said we should do an album. Well, I went on direct message, and I directed, and I wrote a message to Tanya, Dolly, to Chris Stapleton, Brandi Carlile, T.J. Osborne, Katie Pruitt, Eddie Vedder, right. And they all said, yeah. We didn't get a single no. Oh. So all of a sudden, you're recording a hymn with Dolly Parton. It's like somebody's got to pinch me here. This is crazy. And they turned out, because my producers, Mike Lotus, who puts it all together, but the musical guys, Travis Howard and Danny Myrick, are so accomplished, and especially in this genre. They both grew up with gospel music, and wow, we took these old, I mean, these are old songs.
Absolutely.
These are songs like from old. Some of them, they don't even know who wrote them, which we love, because that's, you don't have to pay.
You have to pay for it. It's traditional. That's what it says. Traditional.
Love that one.
No,
but
that's
anyway.
I related to that really, really instantly. Again, being, from here in this area in Kentucky, I'm from rural Kentucky. I'm not even from Louisville. I'm from the sticks of Kentucky. And, we had the tent revivals in our backyards at my great grandmother's. And, it's like, I knew all about these songs, and it is interesting, your story, because I have a similar story, raised there, left, still love what do you get out of these songs today? Because I think that is part of the important part of this.
It's wonderful that I can revisit all these songs with absolutely no axe to grind. And that's been a long, long journey of my own, but there is something about hymns are so comforting. I mean, if you look under, when I put one on Instagram and people do their comments, I mean, it's everything from, it reminds me of my grandmother, this or that, or I'm an atheist, and I still tune in every Sunday to hear these hymns. There's something there, whatever it is. I think they took a lot of the tunes from the old, what was Danny? He's the knowledgeable one, the old Celtic music, where they came from. They were passed down generation to generation to generation to generation, and people just respond, to these songs. My favorite one is one called Further Along, that we didn't sing that song growing up in my church. I don't know why. I've looked it up. It's been recorded by everybody from Emmylou Harris to on and on. But when Chris Stapleton cuts loose on Further Along, I almost wet my pants. I mean, it's just, there's something about, whoo, I mean, there's power. There's some kind of power in this music.
Yeah, that's one of my earliest memories of especially this music was probably the song Never Grow Old, and which isn't on here, I should point out, but I remember thinking, can everybody sing good? Because even today when I hear these hymns, it's like everybody sings them great, you know.
Well, they tell you in the church, you're just singing for the Lord. You're not singing for anybody else, just singing for the Lord. So sing out. And there are people that just sing. You think you need to pipe down a little bit. You need auto tune. You're not on tune. But they mentioned the other day that if you, I think it was Dolly that actually said, if we ever do this song live, and I thought, oh, that can't happen. You can't auto tune me. I can't go live. I don't. She was talking about a part where she got her whole family involved. She said, now right here, there's a part harmony that I did myself because la la la. And if we go live, we have to get somebody else to do that. I said, go live? Oh my Lord, Dolly. I can't sing live.
You do it every Sunday, though. In a
I
sense.
know, but oh gosh, I couldn't even remember. Where would you sing live this Saturday Night Live?
Well, let's just manifest that out there. Let's put that out there. Lauren, he's ready. He's ready for the big show.
Ready to sing.
Wait, wasn't that a Facebook campaign? Am I remembering that right?
There was one to get me on there as Jeff Sessions. There was one to get me on there as Lindsey Graham. There's one to get me on. And I would tell my friends, I said, well, you can start all the campaigns you want. I happen to know that Saturday Night Live is a tough nut to crack. I mean, they've got their truth. They're not, they're going to bring in Alec Baldwin or somebody huge. They're not going to bring me in to do Lindsey Graham. But they, then one girl did Sessions, and I screamed and screamed. It was funny, but yeah, there's all these campaigns to get me to go on there.
See, and it would be perfect because you could do the host and the musical guest now. That's because you're going to bring on all your other famous friends too. See,
there you go.
Sweeten it up.
Well, call me up.
Yeah.
People will say, now is he available? I'm circling the block. What do you mean available? God.
I do want to ask about a few of these friends too that's on here. You mentioned Dolly. We'll start with her. What's your relationship with her like? I mean, obviously I've got to start with her because the queen, right?
I wanted to meet her for so long. I went in 1973. I drove I was at the University of Tennessee at that time before I went up to Kentucky. I did a one semester, and I'd drive up to Sevierville and hear her sing in the high school auditorium. And I've just wanted to meet her. It's been on my wish list forever and ever. And just through a series of events, I was in Nashville recording in the studio, but we were recording something else. I can't remember what we were recording, but they called and they said, Dolly is Steve Summers, who goes everywhere with her, makes her clothes, everything, said, if you want to drive over here, you could meet her. And I drove on a rainy day in Nashville, Tennessee, and drove over to this studio where she was doing Good Morning America or something. And there she was. And the first thing I noticed how tiny she is. She's my height, little tiny bitty with that figure. We all know this, but that little waist and little tiny little butt. She's just, they don't come any more genuine. She is perfectly comfortable in any situation because she's 100% Dolly. People say to me, well, what's she like? Well, you know exactly what she's like. You don't have to meet her to know what she's like in person. What you see is what you get. So, and she said, what song are you and I going to sing? And I said, someone said, how about The Soul of Man Never Dies? And I said, I don't know that one either. And Dolly did. Dolly said, oh, we sang that. We sang that every Sunday morning in my church. And she started singing it, when to Canaan's land I'm on. I just about fell on the floor. So, the way, and I don't know if it's because of COVID, someone who's better at music would know, the way you do it now, you go to Nashville and the musicians all lay down their track. And then I was in LA and I went into a studio and laid down my track. And then Dolly lays down her track. You're seldom, I don't know if that's going to ever, if that's because of COVID or that's just the way it is. but I just envisioned us all right there in the studio, just singing to each other. Now that we got to do that with Tanya, Tanya, I say Tanya all the time. She murders me. Tanya. She said, I'm not Tanya, I'm Tanya. And she happened to be in Nashville. Said, I'll come by. We can lay mine down there. I said, oh my Lord. So that was wonderful. There's something about, I mean, we were in little glass partitions and everything because of COVID.
But still being able to be in that
to be and see and sing to one another. And you can hear it. You can hear, at least I can, that was one where you can hear us going back and forth and having a good time.
That real connection. Tanya, of course, also connected with a friend of mine, Brandi Carlile, one of the greatest, as far as new artists today. I say new, and she's been at it for 20 years. But you guys, and you do the first single together with Angel Band here. Well, let me hear the story, because how did Brandi become a part of this?
I was in Nashville, and so was Brandi, with her beautiful wife, Catherine. And Tanya said, I want to put the two of you together. And we went to dinner at the Hermitage, I think, at the hotel there. And it was the most raucous dinner I've ever been to. And there was not a lot of drinking. I mean, I don't drink. But anyway, you'd think everybody was drinking, but it was just raucous. I mean, loud and naughty and fun. And we all just glommed onto one another. And so, Brandi forget that she's so talented. She's just a sterling human being. Just everything about her, the way she lives her life, the way she, treats others. And then you add that immense talent on top of it. And I can't say enough about her. We're on the phone all the time. Baby. And she, and deserved it, and was able to. I asked her the other day, I said, how long had Tanya gone without an album when you and Shooter approached her? She said 17 years.
Yeah.
I said, my gosh. And then to go on and win the Grammy for a song she wrote. I mean, that you can't, there's got to be a made for TV movie, in that. Maybe I'll get to play Shooter.
I would love that.
That'd be funny. Me a Shooter, maybe I could be Shooter's daddy. That'd be funny.
It'd be Waylon. That's right.
It'd be Waylon.
So with Brandi, of course, I will bring this up, and Katie Pruitt falls in this too. Here you all, you're gay icons coming at a type of music from a religion that, of course, is very anti-lifestyle. What kind of reconciliation did you have to come to, if you did, to be able to connect to this part again?
It had happened by the time this came about. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's something that could have happened right then. I've also been clean and sober for 22 years. So there was a huge journey. I got sober at 42, and all of a sudden you took away all my medicine. And I was like a gay icon, riddled with internal homophobia, just riddled with, my friend looked at me, and it's awful to say this, but he said, honey, you're a fag-hating fag. I said, well, what an awful thing to say. And it's so funny because I said to him, I said, I don't particularly care for very effeminate gay men. He goes, hello. Hello, honey. So you have to look at that, in the mirror, like what is it that you don't like about yourself that you're pointing the finger at others? And so anyway, there was a whole journey of that, so that by the time, and I can tell that both Katie and Brandi took that journey too. We had all taken that journey to acceptance, whatever the background was, but when we began to work on the album, that was evident, and I thought, well, wow, to be able to revisit all these songs with no axe to grind, nothing about, I grew up in the church, and because I've been baptized 14 times.
Is that true? Is it 14?
It never did take. I was little I was a little boy, I'd go forward. They'd say, "Would the sinner come forward to be washed in the blood of the Lamb?" I would run forward, they'd dunk me. And then about a week later, I'd be back, and the preacher would say, "I baptized you last week." I said, "Yeah, I don't think it took. I don't think it took. Let's have another go. Maybe dunk me." Really?
Push it further in there. It is interesting. And especially, again, hearing the sound that comes out of this, like, you take what you all are doing and what we're talking about here. I mean, it's now become its own genre, gay artists doing country music. And again, there's probably always been gay artists doing country music, but of course it's, wasn't, and to see it taken back now to be at such a prominent thing that it's almost its own genre. I mean, that's so great to see. Like, I was thinking back, the days when TNN was still around, and you'd have the Crook and Chase show and all of that stuff, and like, to have this, really knocking it, like, Hee Haw would have been so much better. I think that's just what I'm getting to.
Maybe they'll do a Grammy category like queer people of faith, and now the nominees are.
It's really getting into the niche. No, it is, but you all sound so great together. And again, that goes all the way through it. You mentioned Eddie Vedder. Yeah, I think you might can see there's a Pearl Jam poster over my shoulder anyway, but so I got to bring that up. But that's the one of all these. Like, I love Pearl Jam, they're one of my favorite bands, but it was surprising. Like, all these I can see, they make sense, but suddenly you hear Ed's on here and you're like, wait, what? Ed? How?
It was
what?
Crazy. I went to Hawaii to visit a friend of mine who was over there with the Obamas. I mean, it gets crazy. He does, he's in the Secret Service. Mm-hmm. And by taking care of the Obamas, he had actually he knew Eddie and Jill too, because they had rented a house in the neighborhood there in Hawaii, this house that they've rented for years. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so he knew I was in Hawaii, and he said, "We're going to go. We're going to stop by, and we're going to pick up Eddie and Jill." I said, "Eddie Vedder? I can't go over there. I won't know what to say." And we all ended up on a boat, and we took a day cruise around the Hawaiian Islands, and somehow or other, we played some of my songs. And Eddie, and just jokingly, I said, "The only thing missing is Eddie." He goes, "Well, what do you, I'll do." And all of a sudden and then, Danny Myrick and Travis Howard, who are producing it, wrote that song. Mm. Yeah, "Hideth Me." Mm-hmm. And wrote that. That's one of the few that isn't an old hymn. And Eddie just loved it. And, Jill would call and say, he's locked in the studio. He never does that. He's locked in there. Oh. Then she'd call back and say, "He's still in there." Oh. And then he would call, and he said, "I'm going to have a track to you in about an hour, or maybe, and and then when I listen to that, I mean, quit. You just don't know what you can't even. I mean, you cry. This is just, what is this? Nice. Me singing with. Pinch me. It was even more than Dolly, because Dolly I'd known and prepared for, but mm-hmm. that, like you said, just they go, okay, here's the artist. Eddie Vedder, where did that come from?
And he's got the ukulele, and I know he's doing some percussion on there. I mean, it's
everything.
Yeah. So with the new songs, then, was there any kind of direction to figure out how to make them meet, these traditional classics?
When Danny and Travis wrote that for Eddie, because Eddie said, I'd love an original, whatever if you can find. We didn't know what Eddie Vedder, what his sort of take was on faith or whatever. Would he want to do on him, or what is he agnostic? What is it? Well, who knows? Who cares? But they began to write it because they said, we want to write something that has the feeling. What did they kept saying? The St. James version, but we don't want to do the St. James version, which is the old version of the Bible but we do like those words, the thou. And what did they use? Hideth. Who even knew that was a word?
Hideth, right.
It may not be a word, or they may have made it, but hideth. He hideth me, and words like sore afraid, S-O-R-E, I'm sore afraid. So they took this song and he really liked it. He really liked the melody.
Good. So I would ask then, if there is a thread that ties all these people together, what do these artists have in common on this record?
I think in a way, and they may not agree with me, but I think we're all in a way misfits in some way. Every person that you see on that album in some way did not really fit into maybe the way, for instance, Chris Stapleton was knocking around Nashville for years. And then all of a sudden, there were and so that's what I like, is the fact that, like me, didn't quite fit into whatever the mold was, but we've all come to be happy with who we are or what we are, and that seemed to be the theme, and it wasn't anything that we planned, like, okay, let's go after misfits. It just, all of a sudden there's the lineup, and wow, okay. But I think that's it, and I think that's why the songs work, is because we're all from a common sort of, and maybe everybody's like that. People say, I love when people say, oh, well, my family was very, very dysfunctional. Do you know a functional family?
Right.
I mean, I think maybe in some ways we're all misfits. I don't know anybody. I'm marveled sometimes at kids that I see that have a lot of self-confidence. I mean, how do you raise a child like that? How do you raise a child to have a lot of self-confidence? Because there's people that have tried and failed miserably, with it. Successful people, and you think, so I don't know, but I maybe that's what resonates, is that we're just all just a bunch of misfits. What did my friend say? I love this. We're the broken toys. That toy room where all the toys have been thrown in there that were broken. We're just a bunch of broken toys trying to do whatever, get through the day, basically.
I can relate to that. I can. And it does make sense with all these. I quickly want to bring up a few of the other projects. First off, there's a movie just hit Hulu. This is the United States versus Billie Holiday. Do you want to talk about your role in this?
Lee Daniels called me and he said, I have a movie that I just did, and it's locked. Picture's locked. It's done. It's ready to go. We sold it to Paramount, and they feel that there's a portion missing. Story of Billie Holiday, and they said in 1959. So Lee came up with this idea. He said, how about if you were a journalist in 1959 and you're interviewing her? And I went to get fitted for my wig. I said, what is this? So we fix it. People are going to talk about that wig. Lee said, I think it's hilarious because it just has a life of its own, and it doesn't even really fit the genre. I said, I look like Aunt Bee but anyway, so very serious. I walked in with that wig, and we had one day to reshoot. And I was so impressed with Andra Day. Not an actress. They said she's not. I said, well, maybe she's not an actress, but she's going to win some awards for it.
Absolutely.
And I loved being a part of it, just to be a part of that. And we giggled, and Lee, the wig was based on this. There used to be this old queen that would wander around Hollywood and just bother people. He was supposed to be a journalist. His name was Skip E. Lowe. And he would interview people like Mamie Van Doren. And he had cable access show. But this is back when the only thing on cable access was the Robin Bird show that I used to watch, because she'd have naked, completely nude, baby, won't you bang my box? It was this crazy. Cable access was like insanity. Anybody could get on there. And he had this cable access show, and we based that character a little bit on Skippy Lowe. But what fun. Yeah. What fun. In the movie, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and you're right. There's going to be some awards that's pulled out of this one.
And when do I, Mr. Sitcom, get a chance to play? Very seldom do people come and say, "Well, we want you to do this," and I think, "Wow, that is so." What do they say now? Outside my lane or outside my wheelhouse or whatever. But it was a really, really good experience.
Yeah. Yeah. You've also got, let's see, a radio show coming up, Hunker Down. That's going to be on Apple Music. What can we expect from that one?
Well, we just turned a mic on, and I went over to Travis Howard, who is my friend that did the album with me, and we would pick 12 to 14 songs. Apple said, look, whatever he wants to do. They were so up on it. They said, well, whatever he wants to do. And I said, well, I really don't think I mean, I can yak, but I don't think I can yak an hour, and the whole thing with, oh, you can have guest stars and stuff. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Just coming up every week with people to talk to. I said, oh, yeah. I don't know. So finally they said, well, how about he just plays music and talks a little bit in between? It's been the easiest thing I've ever done. And we just take these songs, like I'll say, well, this next song was KT Osland. We recently lost her, and I just love her. And I remember when this song came on, blah, 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 blah. And then we play it. And I talked so much they were able to stretch one episode into 3. And so now we've got 4. And I'm not sure when it rolls out. I think it rolls out this Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I believe
but it's just an hour of off-the-wall music. Whatever we want to pick, we've got, it's country music. It's mainly, country music that we do, but everything from old Loretta Lynn to Dolly to, Travis knows all the new artists, which is something I don't know. And then he'll tell a little bit about that.
That's going to be a lot of fun to listen to.
I think so.
Yeah. And you've got a book. I mean, the list, I swear, it's like I'm trying to put this together and I'm like, and there's this, and there's this. The book is called How Y'all Doing. Is this the life story book?
No, the life story book was called My Life on the Pink Carpet, which came out 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
A wonderful editor at HarperCollins, her name is Elle Keck, called me and said, you have so many stories on Instagram. I said, oh, honey, that's only half of them. I can't, I have dinner party stories. She said, if you wrote a list of your 10 favorite, and I said, well, so what was interesting was we had the name. I said, it's going to be called How Y'all Doing. I just said, how y'all doing? And I started writing as a writing exercise. What was interesting was I remember when I wanted to tell the stories on Instagram, I thought I got to get them down to a minute, because that little thing comes up that says, keep watching.
Right.
Well, you can't interrupt a story with that. I've got to get it to a minute to take these long-winded stories. Then you have a very definite beginning, middle, and end, because you've gotten it down to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So then to expand it out into a chapter was, it was so much fun writing. It was really fun to write it. And I wrote it so they couldn't believe it. I think I wrote it in a month. They were like, we give our writers a year. I'm ready. Here, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm ready. I'm done.
Well, I can't wait to dive into those. I mean, again, it has been so much fun just keeping up with you over Instagram, over the television show. Again, I'll bring up Call Me Cats. Leslie, congratulations on this record right here with Companies Coming. I mean, this is so, it makes me feel good to listen to this album. I'll say that. It makes me feel good.
Thank you. I hope a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. Well, you do that. You put so much good positivity into the world. I so appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to talk about it. This has been so much fun.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I'll come back. I'm just circling the block. So
circling the block. Well, if you circle the block over here to Louisville in the future sometime soon with the horses, you say hi.
Okay, I sure will, Kyle. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Bye.